How's it going, everyone? We are heading into April, and honestly speaking, after some absolutely insane months of game releases in February and March, and even going back to January had a lot of big releases, it's a little bit nice to have a little bit more of a quiet month in April. Now, not to say April doesn't have big games coming out, it absolutely does, but it's not like it's every week a gigantic game is coming out. We don't have multiple big games releasing on the same day like we had in March and February. We have quite a few notable titles. We have one major release, another big JRPG, and a lot of smaller games to go over as well. We've got a free game as well. Want to highlight all of that, so let's get right into it, and let's start things off with the biggest game release of April, and that is, of course, Stellar Blade. Incredibly excited about Stellar Blade. We just had the demo drop, and it seems like the general reception for the demo has been incredibly positive. A lot of Sekiro vibes, a phenomenal soundtrack, great satisfying gameplay, gorgeous visuals, and so much more. Stellar Blade is a game that I think is going to do exceedingly well, and it is a hard game to get into when you're talking about a $70 game coming from a relatively unknown studio. I know Shift Up has done stuff in the mobile sector, but in terms of console gaming, Shift Up is relatively unknown to say the least, and a new IP as well. All of those elements usually are pretty deterring for a new game, but with Stellar Blade, it seems like it has generated a lot of hype and attention, and yes, Eve is a good-looking lady as far as video game characters go, so I'm sure that doesn't hinder the game's promotion, but at a fundamental level, it seems like the game is a really well-made action game. Go play the demo if you have yet to, and the full game drops on April 26th. Next up, we have Braid Anniversary Edition, one of the more iconic puzzle games of all time. Braid is a puzzle platformer with a unique time manipulation mechanic. In each world, you have a different power to affect the way that time behaves. Braid, back in the day when it dropped, was an incredibly well-received game, and now you have the Anniversary Edition. Solve puzzles by changing the flow of time in this remaster of the classic award-winning game Braid. This remaster has new puzzles, hand-repainted graphics, and fully reimagined sound, and a completely unreasonable amount of developer commentary. You know what? Dev commentary is something that I actually love. I love when you see specific scenes out of a game or while playing the game and you have dev commentary telling you why certain decisions were made or what was going through their heads. I just find that kind of stuff fascinating, so it'll be interesting to see how that turns out with Braid Anniversary Edition. It drops on April the 30th. Next up, we have the free release in April, and that is Deceit 2, dropping on April the 3rd, so right around the corner. Deceit 2 is an online social deduction horror game. Inspire fear as the terror, play detective as the innocent, or create mayhem as the curse. Trapped with friends and strangers, who can you trust to help you escape? This game was going for $9.99 with its initial release on PC back in September, but they have gone to a free forever model of the game. It's free to play, so when the game drops, you can play it. It is very much relying on multiplayer, so keep that in mind. Try to find a squad of people to play with, and you might have a good time. Deceit 2 drops on April the 3rd. Next up, here's a game that I am so excited for. Finally, we have the release of Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. I know not all of you guys played Eiyuden Chronicle Rising. Not necessary, kind of a setup game for 100 Heroes. 100 Heroes is the meat and potatoes of Eiyuden Chronicle and the experience that is coming. It's designed to bring players a modern take on classic JRPG experiences. Get ready to lead 100 plus characters through a war-torn world only you can save. Now, the game is dropping at a $50 price point, and look, I'm not a big fan of them going the route of the Digital Deluxe Edition being 80 buckaroos and it having early access. Look, I don't think the $50 price point is that bad. You know, this will be a lengthy JRPG. You're probably gonna get your money's worth. I'm not a big fan of the Deluxe Edition having early access, and I know why they're doing it. This game is also on Game Pass, so they want to incentivize people that have Game Pass to upgrade to the Deluxe Edition or outright buy the Deluxe Edition. Generally speaking, you're incentivized more to have that early access gimmick tied to the Deluxe Edition when you are dropping the game on a subscription service. It just makes sense, so I get why they're doing it. Just not my ideal route, and you do get it if you pre-order the Deluxe Edition, so take that for what you will. The game itself looks fantastic. I wasn't a big Suikoden player growing up. Suikoden, I don't even know how to say it, but I just know Suikoden 2 was egregiously expensive for a while until this remaster was announced, but Nevertheless, excited to check out Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. It is the JRPG for me for the month of April, and it seems like every month I feel like we're getting a big JRPG being dropped, and Eiyuden Chronicle is April, so definitely excited to check that one out. A bit of a throwback while also modernizing the experience. Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes drops April 23rd, but again, you can play it April 21st if you do buy the deluxe edition. Next up, very well-received PC and Xbox game Planet of Lana is making its way on over to PlayStation on April the 16th. A young girl and her loyal friend embark on a rescue mission through a colorful world of cold machines and unfamiliar creatures. Planet of Lana is a cinematic puzzle adventure framed by an epic sci-fi saga that stretches across centuries and galaxies. Priced at $19.99, well-priced, Metacritic score of 80, visually looks fantastic, has such a great art style. Nice to see it finally make its way over to PlayStation. It drops on April the 16th. Next up, another notable JRPG, we have Sandland, R.I.P. Toriyama. What a legend. Sandland is an action RPG where you become the main character, a fiend prince, lead your company of heroic misfits, and explore the legendary world of Sandland created by Akira Toriyama. The game did have a demo drop, so you can check that out. In this action RPG, you will find a nostalgic and heartwarming world created by Akira Toriyama. Learn how to control the powers and lead your company of heroic misfits exploring the legendary world of Sandland. Beware of the many dangers that populate it between bandits, fierce wildlife, and the royal army. Reaching the spring won't be easy. Use your tact and imagination to develop tanks and other vehicles that will help you navigate this vast land using a wide array of part combinations. Vehicles from beyond your imagination. Unlock vehicles that can be leveled up with various mechanic parts, including weapon engines and suspensions. Become the savior the world needs and adventure beyond the dunes. Sandland drops on April the 25th. Next up, we have SaGa Emerald Beyond. Forge your own tale, the latest standalone entry in the SaGa franchise. SaGa Emerald Beyond brings together the very best elements of the beloved series to offer each player their own unique gameplay experience. SaGa is certainly the one Square Enix JRPG that goes super under the radar. It is not a franchise that is talked about a lot. It does have an emphasis on mobile platforms, so take that for what you will. Certainly a lower budget JRPG, but a JRPG nonetheless, and one to check out when it drops on April the 25th. Next up, big expansion. We're talking about JRPGs that don't get much bigger than Final Fantasy and Final Fantasy 16, as we do have Final Fantasy 16 The Rising Tide. Look, I know Final Fantasy 16 was certainly a bit of a divisive game. More people would say it's more of an action game rather than a JRPG. Whatever you want to call it, I love Final Fantasy 16, and while Echoes of the Fallen was a nice little DLC pack, Rising Tide is really the big DLC pack. This is the one that is gonna have the icon battle, you're gonna have new powers, you're gonna have a lengthier story, a narrative focus as well. 10 or so hours of gameplay, you've got a roguelite mode being added there as well, which I am all for. That I am very excited about, and it looks like a little bit of mystery attached to Rising Tide as well. We'll see how it all shakes out as it hits PlayStation 5. DLC for FF16 on April the 18th. Next up, we have ArcRunner. Released on PC, now coming to PS5, a metavirus has infected core the AI of the Titan-class space station, the Ark, causing the ArcRunner protocol to be initialized. You have been brought back to traverse the station, defeat its zone guardians, locate core, and reset it. The catch, every robotic entity on the Ark is against you. Really cool visual style, a fast-paced action title here. ArcRunner drops on April the 19th. Next up, major Xbox title making its way on over to PlayStation 5. We do have Obsidian Entertainment's Grounded. Now, as far as Obsidian titles go, Grounded isn't one that really caught my interest, but it's a title that does have a lot of attention and a lot of players, and it's got a lot of support, so take that for what you will. It'll be out on PlayStation 5, open the game up to a new audience, and it drops on April the 16th. Next up, we have Sker Ritual, which is currently on early access on PC, an intense round-based zombie survival FPS. Play solo or co-op, shoot your way through relentless waves of vicious horrors with high-octane objective upgrading steampunk weapons, collecting Celtic god powers, and surviving the onslaught of the Quiet Ones. Sker Ritual drops sometime in April. And lastly, we have Broken Roads. Broken Roads is a story-rich, party-based RPG set in a decaying post-apocalyptic version of the vast Australian outback, featuring a genre-redefining morality system. Survive, form bonds, and make tough choices that will shape your dangerous yet mesmerizing journey across the wild. Pretty interesting post-apocalyptic RPG here. Broken Roads officially drops on April 10th. If you're looking for a throwback RPG, this one might be one to check out. And that is going to do it for me. Again, certainly a more quiet month comparatively to February and March. February and March were just crazy. I think April, a little bit of a come-down month, and the fact is you still have Stellar Blade, you got Braid Anniversary, you got Deceit 2, you got SaGa, Yeah, you got Sandland in there as well. There's a lot of notable titles. Eiyuden Chronicle, of course, that's gonna be huge, but it's not as jam-packed like some of these other months have been, which is honestly a breath of fresh air. Little bit of a quiet month, some notable titles, some underrated gems that you can check out like Planet of Lana as well, and some time to catch up on some of the games from earlier this year. That's gonna do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.